West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Woo! 6 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, September 25th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about Do Better Denver. This was wild.
Yeah.
In light of all the news, we weren't able to get to this yesterday, but taking down all their accounts, and then a fake Do Better Denver showed up.
Yeah.
And tried to get information from people, and the person that sniffed it all out and called him on it and exposed it all was Mandy Connell. And
nice job, Mandy.
Yeah, Mandy did a great job on that.
That's important. So, yeah, this was a really kind of important social media site that was holding the powers that be accountable and just pointing out some of the warts. And then it just went dark. And when it came back, everybody thought, hey, look, because, of course, you assume, but it didn't really come back. Yeah.
No, this was a wild story. We'll give you the latest on that. Jimmy Sengenberger also covering that Dallas ICE shooting that took place yesterday. We'll give you the latest details on that. Excel settling for $200 plus million. We'll give you the details on that settlement regarding the fires that took place a few years ago. Sorry, $640 million. My bad.
Still seems
that was
small.
The 200 was the million. Million was the amount that Dan Kaplan was able to get the settlement for. But $640 million settling the lawsuit over the ignition of the Marshall fire just days. In fact, one day before a 2-month civil trial over the devastating fire was set to begin. We'll give you the latest on that. Plus, do you remember talking with Steve Reams about this dangerous guy that they were forced to release because of this law in Colorado that if you are deemed incompetent to stand trial and there are no beds, well, go free, my friend.
Let go.
Go free.
What could possibly happen? And I love the fact that we are now deciding who gets to stay behind bars based on just a number of beds. And kind of, I don't know. Maybe there could be some other ways that we decide. But still, Steve made national news because he made an announcement. And again, to his credit, he didn't just say, well, this is my job. He did his job, but he let the community know because he's the sheriff. Yeah. It's his job to keep the community safe. And he said, I don't feel, this is how strong the guy's conscience is. He said, I don't feel comfortable releasing this guy into my community without letting the people that I am charged to protect, without letting them know that this guy is now a potential threat in our community. Everybody that I'm charged to protect should know who this is, know their face. That's what he did. Well, surprise. Guy got arrested again. Who could have seen that coming? Certainly not us.
A very dangerous, serious way.
Yes, we'll talk about why.
Walking around a school campus with a gun.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Who would have thought the violent offender would fire a firearm and maybe have some ideas
I thought
to take
we had all these laws to stop these guys from getting firearms.
This is
so
going to be a
shocking.
problem.
So we'll cover that as well. Lots of news. It's Thursday. Let's kick it off. Now it's time for news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good Thursday morning, 46 and clear in Denver, expecting a high of 78 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, Jeff and Billy just talked about it, and once again, the Ephraim Debisa caught on campus at the University of Northern Colorado with a gun. Remember, he was released, the 21-year-old released from jail earlier this month. And the guys will be discussing that this morning. Denver police asking for help locating a missing 11-year-old girl. Investigators say Salome Deguinde was last seen Wednesday in the area of Jericho Street and Kelly Place. She's described as being 5'4" with black hair, brown eyes. She was last seen wearing camouflage pants and carrying 2 black bags. Anyone with information about her location is asked to call Denver police. A major investigation is underway in Big D.
Secretary Kristi Noem says Wednesday's shooting in Dallas should serve as a wake-up call to the far left that their rhetoric about ICE has consequences. No ICE officers were hit by gunfire in the attack, but 3 detainees were. 1 of them died. 2 others were listed in critical condition. The suspected shooter was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The words anti-ICE were found written on bullet casings at the scene. I'm Rory O'Neill.
And once again, the FBI is looking at the shooting as an act of targeted violence. DJT expected to sign a deal later today that will allow TikTok to continue operating in the U.S. Congress voted last year to ban the video sharing app for national security reasons unless it sold its U.S. operations. And I just lost what I was going to play here. Let's see here. That's good news.
Former FBI Director James Comey is expected to be indicted in the coming days. The full extent of the charges being prepared against Comey is unclear.
So that's MSNBC, and the U.S. Attorney's Office is getting closer to indicting James Comey. So that is good news, but don't know a lot. Just have to wait and see what happens today and maybe the rest of the week or into the weekend. FCC Chair Brendan Carr is getting the South Park treatment in a new episode that came out Wednesday. DJT accidentally puts Brendan Carr in the hospital where doctors warn he may lose his freedom of speech. So, unfortunately, Charlie Kirk not able to comment on this. He was portrayed in a South Park episode and did a great job. Just laughed at it, and that's what you have to do. Laugh it off. It's important for freedom of speech. A Leadville man has been arrested following a deadly shooting in Lake County. 31-year-old Robert Price Chase was arrested Tuesday on US 24 just south of Leadville. Investigators say Chase and 40-year-old Landon Mentink were involved in an altercation motivated by road rage. Chase was charged with second-degree murder and had his bond set at $100,000. 27-year-old Matthew Littlefield has been arrested for a deadly shooting in Parker. Shots were fired once again after an argument between people in 2 vehicles 2 days ago. A man was found dead near his vehicle. After the shooting, Littlefield is expected to face a charge of second-degree murder. And New York Mets play-by-play announcer Gary Cohen, Todd Zeal is the color commentator, former player. Rookie Matt Shaw is at the plate, and he's a friend of Charlie Kirk. You may remember what we played yesterday. He went to the memorial. He's at the plate here against the Mets.
Oh, Matt Shaw leads off for the Cubs. He had a base hit his first time up. Shaw had Cubs World in a tizzy this weekend when he was not here for the Cubs game with the Reds. Game they lost 1-0, and in which his lack of presence was felt. It was later revealed that he had been given permission to attend Charlie Kirk's funeral. And I don't want to talk about any of the politics of it, but the thought of leaving your team in the middle of a race for any reason other than a family emergency really strikes me as weird.
It's unusual. I think it's unprecedented, at least from my experience as a player. And I think it made it a little bit more unusual that it was not revealed until after it came to issue, because he was thought to be in the dugout and maybe available, and then was not, and that's how it was revealed. So it became...
Okay, they play 161 games, and I know the family bereavement rule in the Major League Baseball, it's okay to leave if it's family member, what have you, but this was unprecedented. This was an assassination of first political assassination or civil rights since what, 55 years, 57 years?
Major one. If
in front of the world.
If a player had wanted to go to the funeral for Martin Luther King Jr., because they had a personal connection, they worked together, and on civil rights issues, those commentators would have never made that comment.
So there are a lot of Venezuelan players in Major League Baseball. So if there was someone who was fighting against the dictators in Venezuela, and they were shot and killed, the player went to the memorial. They would not say that for
this was
that
one game.
Either. Yes, one game.
One game.
And he loses it. Some fans lost it because they're on the left. I mean, honestly, it was.
Also, though, it is the Cubs and they're in a pennant race. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that my experience with fans, especially when you're in a playoff hunt. Reason, rationality, and emotion seem to just be thrown out the window.
There is no reason and rationality.
Not at all. If you're a huge Cubs fan and you're like, do you understand how long I've been struggling? And they've had these small windows of where they've done well. They're like, really? You're gonna do this stuff? I understand. Because for them, it's much more important than anything else in life, because they're not connected to Charlie. They don't have the same personal relationship. So where they have a personal relationship is the team. It's not. It's the critique for me.
Exactly.
He should have been able to, and he's fine. And the team lost. That's okay. Stuff happens all the time. And would he have been there, and could he have made the difference? No, we don't know that. But listen, I had a striker on my soccer team that threw a hissy fit over the summer. Decided to force a transfer to another team. We lost a couple of games because we can't put the ball in the back of the net. Okay. It happens. That's part of being a fan. You still cheer for your team. Stop being a whiner baby. That's just my opinion.
Well, my problem is with Cohen. You're right. With the fans, anything can happen. But Cohen is the play-by-play guy for the Mets, and he says it's weird. It's weird. And I don't want to get political. But you just did. Yeah. You just got here. Let me play it just a little bit more because it drove me crazy.
Maybe more of a story than it had.
That's Todd Zeal.
Had it been addressed from the beginning.
Shaw strikes out to start the inning.
So he can't let it go. So here's Cohen, who is a great play-by-play announcer for baseball. He has great pipes, and he tells a great story, and he takes you through the game beautifully. But then, can't you let it go at this point?
Do you think the fact that he's a rookie changes the equation at all? It makes it more or less egregious?
As I said,
once again, Erica, the wife of Charlie Kirk, asked him to come. He talked to the veterans on the team and the managers, and they understood how rare and how different this whole situation was.
I think that's something that would certainly be unusual during my era. But then again, there was no paternity leave. There was no bereavement leave when I played at all. You showed up and, just found a way to get through work. But That has changed. That has changed.
Well, but I thought it was telling that the reason that they didn't tell anybody and that they had to play a man short was that the situation did not qualify for baseball's bereavement list.
Oh my God!
Wait,
I mean,
play a man short, so they didn't have a baseman out there. Play a man short.
You know,
That's a lie.
Right? It's a baseball
I'm in a sport where they get red carded and they throw people out. That's playing a man short when you have fewer players than the other team. They had just as many people on the field as the other team did. They did not play a man short. Okay.
He could have gotten sick right before the game. I mean,
how could he possibly do that? Didn't he know about the burritos on deck 3? I mean, that's okay. Now, I did like the fact that that he's talking about he's searching for something, because we know this about baseball announcers. You've listened to enough of them, Blake. You've done this a long enough time that they're storytellers and they always reach for things. And when I heard him go into, do you think it had anything to do with him being a rookie? I went into Harry Carey doing the thing about, hey, look at the kid over there in the sombrero. I mean, just random stuff out of the crowd. Yeah, it was just, I have to find something.
If you look down there in section 3.
Yes, that's just right.
Yes. I mean, that's what I was thinking, the same thing.
Yes.
Just dragging it on. It's like, dude, the guy got his head blown off in front of the world. It was his friend assassinated. You cannot let that one go.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And we've got great listeners that are pointing out that the Mets team took time to stop a game to honor George Floyd. And that
great point.
Players during that time, this is an article, I guess, from MLB. Players make stand as 7 games are postponed. Player activism continued for a second straight day across the Major League Baseball as players throughout the league chose not to play, leading to the postponement of 7 games on Thursday. This comes a day after players' protests led to 3 postponements on Wednesday. As I said at the beginning, it wouldn't have done this for anybody else, but for Charlie Kirk, they'll make those criticisms.
Caller very smartly went way back, much more baseball history than I remember, and it's reminded me that Sandy Koufax took a day off during the World Series because he didn't want to pitch on the Sabbath.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally forgot. Do you remember that one, Cohen?
Exactly.
So we may go back. Well, it's fun.
Yeah.
It is amazing to me how the left, because I ran into this personally, cannot just take a moment to allow other people to grieve. Yeah. It's fascinating to me because I organized this big thing to honor Bill Armstrong down at the Colorado State Capitol. And anytime a former lawmaker dies, they honor that person and they bring the family onto the floor of the House of Representatives down at the Capitol, and people make nice comments. It lasts maybe 15 or 20 minutes. That's it. But it's traditionally a moment where nobody raises anything, right? Just the family's there. Who cares? Scroll on your phone if you're part of the different party, and we'll get back to business in a second. So we do this. We get up there, and Bill had this chant that he'd like to do at the end of every speech. No matter where he gave a speech, if it was on the college campus or at a Lincoln Day or whatever event, he would finish his speeches by saying, and when it comes down to all of it, it will be about Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. So Jesus, Jesus, Jesus was his closing moniker for his speeches. And we all wore buttons that said Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And then the Republicans got up there and would finish their speeches with Jesus, Jesus. It was all that. It was 15 minutes at the end of general business on the floor of the House of Representatives, there to honor the family. That was it. Well, afterwards, Democrats get up and they go, the chanting of Jesus, Jesus, Jesus in this place was so offensive. It harkens me back to 1945 Germany. It was so over the top. And you're just sitting there going, just go get some coffee. Nobody's asking you to sit here and celebrate Bill Armstrong, who was a U.S. Senator, by the way. You know, this isn't just some random guy, but he was a former lawmaker. Can you just take a minute and not be a prick about it. I've found, like, this guy, Gary Cohen, could have just been fine. If he was personally frustrated, I think it's terrible that this guy took time off. All right, well, just keep your mouth shut. There's a bunch of people grieving in a corner. Can you just let them have a moment? Can you? Do you have to make it about your own personal feelings on the matter? Goodness. Sorry.
Absolutely.
No, I didn't know that was Bill Armstrong that did that. I'm sorry. I thought that was my mom started that, because every time she'd lecture me at the end, she's walking away going, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Every single time. And then she'd go do a rosary. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. I'll send it back to you guys in honor of Gary Cohen. 43 in Lafayette, 44 in Parker, 46 in Denver, and they're not rookies. I don't think that's going to be an issue here. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Gorgeous September weather here for the next few days for Denver in the Front Range. Temperatures will be very comfortable, mid to upper 70s today, low 80s Friday, upper 70s Saturday. Will be a touch cooler in the low to mid 70s Sunday. Today through Saturday, sunny and dry, maybe an isolated shower late Sunday, otherwise pleasant. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. So we all remember this great account. Remember, because it was like last month.
I know.
Do Better Denver, which was this aggregator for people that were frustrated with what was happening in the community, because sending it to the news, like, I mean, I don't blame them for not putting this stuff up, because they have to jump through so many more hoops before something becomes a story. What's happening? Why is it newsworthy to everybody?
Yeah.
Who's behind it? Is there privacy concerns? I mean, they're big news agencies, so they can't just throw any video up there.
And some things that I had seen were things like, open drug abuse, there are things of violence. But the idea being, if you're doing a news story, it's got to be, well, here's 5 seconds of video, and then we're trying to tell you why it's important now. Things like Do Better Denver, it was much easy to do kind of, these are snapshots in time of where our city is, and it provides, it's something that larger news organizations can't do, again, just based on delivery. So, yeah, continue.
That's exactly right. So I understand that those news agencies aren't going to post all this stuff. That's not really their job. But thank God in this time of social media that you had a place where you could send a video, or you could post it yourself, but an aggregator of the challenges facing the city, particularly Denver. And this became the ire of Mike Johnston's administration, the police, the Denver police, and others, because it was a very clear window into the fact that your policies weren't working. You couldn't buddy up with a journalist and keep them from publishing something. He couldn't call. This was a full exposure of the problems of Mike Johnston's administration and his policies. And so Denver Post tried to expose who it was, and this became a big deal. And I thought they handled it all really well, in part because they're not political activists in the sense of, you want to come after me, do exposés on me, whatever. I'll give it just right back to you as good as you give it to me. Let's go. That's politics. Do Better Denver never asked for this. They didn't want to be exposed in the names in the Denver Post and Mayor Mike Johnston's administration trying to expose them via core requests, all that stuff. They just simply wanted Denver to be better. It's in their name. Do Better Denver. That's all they want, right? They're not trying to get anybody elected or unelected. They're not actively working in politics. They're just frustrated that policies being promoted by those in power now aren't actually solving any problems. And then they just randomly disappeared. And I started to get messages from progressives that said, hey, we know that you had communicated in some capacity with Do Better Denver. Do you know what happened? And I never knew who they were. They never told me, but they did communicate with me via back channels, especially during all the Denver Post stuff that was happening, making sure that we knew that who the Denver Post claimed were involved with Do Better Denver were just people submitting information to Do Better Denver. They weren't the owners and managers of it. And so the Denver Post essentially doxed a random citizen that just simply was trying to expose what was happening in the city.
Yeah.
And they were going, hey, we want you to know as media that who they're claiming to be involved with this isn't. And the Denver Post has gone so far, and the reporting is so egregiously bad that they essentially just doxed Jane that lives down the street because at one point she had emailed Do Better Denver with some information that she had come up with.
Yeah, that was real egg on the face for the Denver Post, especially, in my opinion, because if you want to hold up a mirror on the community and say, we are the ones that are doing the journalism right, you should know who these people are because, again, we put bylines on things and we tell you who the authors are and you know who the editor is. And so we are front-facing, and we want this outlet that's getting attention to be front-facing, but then in their example of doing their bestest journalistic work, they didn't find the right people. So that hurts your case. That just does.
But you have to understand the point of the article, too.
Oh,
the
yeah,
point of the article
public
was to get everybody else that submits information concerned about sending information to Do Better Denver. It was a hit piece to everybody else and a warning shot that you DM Do Better Denver, you email them, you communicate with them, your name could end up in the pages of the Denver Post, which nobody reads anyways. But that was the point of it. So Do Better Denver just disappears. And their X account was Do Better DNVR. And I texted Jimmy, and I was like, Jimmy, did you see this? And Jimmy's like, oh, my goodness, what's going on? He's like, I don't know, I'm going to go work on it. Because Jimmy was covering all this really, really well in the Gazette. By the way, it is so cool to watch that guy just flourish as an investigative
really nice. Yeah, it is.
guy.
It is.
Because he's so talented at it. Jimmy Sengenberger's one of the must-reads each week in the Gazette. So Jimmy runs out there, and then to her credit, Mandy Connell, over at a competing station, but she does so good at this, and you should follow her on X at Mandy Connell, writes this Do Better Denver account that just popped up, right? So Do Better DNVR disappears, and then at Do Better Denver, all spelled out, pops up. And they're like, hey, we're back. And by the way, the libs were terrible, and they hacked our accounts, and that's why we're all down. And it wasn't just the X account that was down. Instagram was down as well. So all of the social media goes away. And then Do Better Denver pops up, and they're like, hey, we're back. It was the liberals that hacked us and how terrible they are. By the way, DMs are open. We're back at it. All that stuff. And Mandy Connell writes, hold on a second. This new account should be treated with extreme caution. It is not the real person behind the original Do Better Denver. And I'm wondering if they are trying to get people to submit stuff so they can out those who do. Proceed with caution. And please retweet this to get the word out. Now, I thought that the new Do Better Denver account was the old people because the language kind of seemed to be the same. They seemed to communicate kind of the same way. So I was like, well, they're back. That's great. But I didn't DM them or anything like that. But I did follow them and was like, oh, it's great to have them back. And then I see Mandy's tweet and I'm like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
She then DMs the new Do Better Denver account to ask them who they were, and they lied to me, Mandy says. And they said they were the original person, which I know to be a lie. They then blocked Mandy Connell. And that's when I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah.
You can't block Mandy Connell. Mandy then writes, now the fake Do Better Denver account is saying that their email was hacked and that the emails I've gotten are from the hackers themselves. So when Mandy tried to message the original Do Better Denver, because that account was hacked, she was actually talking to the hackers. And then she writes, except the phone number the hackers gave me is the one I already had, and this person is a scammer. Please spread the word. They've blocked me. Now I'm angry, Mandy writes. And then she writes again, the new Do Better account should be treated with extreme caution. Next tweet. I got this message from the real person behind the real Do Better Denver account, the original one, not the fake new one. I confirm that the new Do Better Denver account is not mine, and I have no idea who it is. Then they write this. This is wild. After a few hours of existing as the new Do Better Denver account, this new fake one writes, the gig is up. Can I just say that I love communism and trans women are real women? Also, homeless people deserve our empathy. Congrats on the 900 plus idiots who believe this and were excited to get to doxing again. See ya. Fake account.
Wow.
Fake account. Isn't that wild?
That is
wild.
You
got to be careful out there.
Yeah. And the idea, the motivation of the person. They were like, well, I'm just going to fill the space because everyone's going to jump in and then I'm going to be able to take advantage of you all. Yeah. I'm glad Mandy did that. Tip of the hat to her. That's fantastic because somebody needed to step up and figure out if this was real or not, because too often on social media, we just assume who it is. How many times have we heard stories of stars going, that's not really me. That's not, those fake accounts happen all the time as far as bands and stars and people out of Hollywood. So this was just one of those as well, because the person that was trying to take advantage of it saw an emptiness, a gap.
Right.
And so they just decided, okay, if the McDonald's in your neighborhood closed down and then a couple of days later McDougal's opens up and you're like, well, it looks similar. Not sure if it's the same, but let's see what happens.
And to that point, I think women are better at sniffing this stuff out than guys are.
Yes.
I was kind of like, all right, well, they seem to kind of have the same diction and syntax and the way they talk. Probably the same person. And Mandy, to her credit, is like, hold on. This ain't smelling right. Good job.
Yeah, primarily because this is why I think that women in and of themselves are better at sniffing these things out. And I talk about it being their croquet test, okay? Now, you get your average croquet set. You get 5 boys, you put them in the backyard, give them the croquet set, and then leave them for 45 minutes. You give girls another backyard, same type of croquet set, leave them for 45 minutes. You come back after 45 minutes, the girls will have organized a game, somebody will be winning, and they'll be playing together. The boys will be running around trying to hit each other with the mallets. That's what would happen. So that's
a good description of what X is.
Yes, that's why they're better at it. We just try to hit each other with the mallets. That's all we do. We go, this game seems stupid. How about we hit each other? And we'd be throwing the balls at each other too. Yes, and I would be participating. Absolutely. I am part of this problem. That's the reason. Yeah, that's my opinion.
So I'm sad because Do Better Denver was fantastic at holding people accountable. And I would have liked it if it was a Republican mayor in Denver, which is not going to happen. But I would have liked that because it's an actual window. It's not parsed. It's not run through filters. You actually get to see what is happening in the city of Denver and how people are suffering and how the policies aren't working. And I don't know if we have that. I've seen a few other accounts pop up that are going to try to showcase what's happening in Denver. But, man, I'm sad. I liked Do Better Denver. I appreciated what they do. I don't know who you were, but thank you. And you have every right to cash in your chips and walk away from the table,
and
too.
Part of it is the difficult to sustain it based on the environmental landscape and advertising. Is even with Do Better Denver getting lots of eyeballs, the return from something like Twitter isn't a lot of money. They don't, unless you're getting just tens of millions of views, it doesn't turn into anything that is significant as far as money. And it's a lot of front end work.
Correct.
And so if you can't monetize this, then it goes away. And here's the biggest example. If any of the newspapers or television stations or even radio stations felt they could monetize what Do Better Denver is doing, they would have. They would have looked at it and gone, hey, that's a great idea. Let me do that, but put my name on it. We are classic ripoff artists. Everybody talks about in the NFL how it's a copycat league. Fidget spinners. You saw fidget spinners? How long was it until every single gas station and convenience store you walked into had a box of weird-looking fidget spinners? Because they're all knockoffs, because they were selling, because we saw space in the market. If the marketplace was there that you could monetize something like this, then other people would be doing it. And that's what made it so difficult, in my opinion, for Do Better Denver, is while it was incredible work that needed to be done, the payoff on the other side just wasn't there to do it long term. It must have been very difficult, very time consuming, and very stressful. So I appreciate the person who was responsible for it, for doing it for as long as you could. But I understand that idea. You can't do it for free. Just can't.
And look, at any point with regards to politics, I believe this wholeheartedly. You have the right to cash in your chips and just go live a different life because it's challenging. Look at, I think Rose Pugliese will stay in politics in some capacity, but after what she's given and what she's had to go through, just be like, guys, I got better things to do with my time. 100% understand that.
Yeah.
I 100% understand that.
I got to that at a point with coaching because I got tired of some of the parents. And I'm like, I don't need this anymore. I'm here because I want to see the kids. If the kid is better at the end of the season than he was at the beginning of the season, that for me is a win. I'm not concerned about a whole lot of other things that parents seem to put pressure on. And I'm like, I don't need this anymore. So, yeah, I walked away from it. Yeah.
Well, thank you to Do Better Denver for all the great work they did. We love you wherever you end up. Proud of the work you did. Secondly, somebody else wants to pick up the mantle. There's a space for this. Please consider doing this, being an aggregator for citizen-produced content that showcases what's happening in the city and holds our public officials accountable. Please consider doing that. All right, let's talk Dan Caplis with Dan Caplis Law. This guy's delivering for the people of Colorado. $200 million for a family that had lost their child in a theme park accident because he was able to expose that the company running the theme park had a policy to override safety concerns. It was his research, his firms digging into this that exposed that, got justice for the family, and it's going to make all of our lives safer if you take your kids to a theme park in Colorado. That's Dan Caplis. If you've been injured in a motor vehicle crash or some other injury case, you want to call Dan Caplis right away. Get him on your team. Not just delivering for that family, delivering 40 years of justice for Colorado families. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Caplis Law, the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law, a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis. so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S Law.com. Bill, I was listening to Dan on his show yesterday, and he was talking. This is something I really love about Dan. He's built his family into the work that he does. So his daughter serves on the trial team with him. And he spent 3 weeks in Glenwood Springs fighting this case. Family there. He took walks with his daughter. They thought through the case together. They fought this together. So much I admire about that guy.
Oh,
very,
that's
very
wonderful.
cool.
That's fantastic.
We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Bill Show. It's that time of the morning that you really need to wake up on your way to work. It's Bill Thorpe's You Choose the News.
Yes. It is that time of the morning where we get to play everybody's favorite fake radio news game show. It is time for You Choose the News. You know how this works? I have scoured the interwebs for moments this morning to find really, really dumb stories about us humans. There were a lot today. They had to leave on the cutting room floor. And then I've given them even more ridiculous headlines so that we can play this fake radio news game show because those in charge are not awake until 7 a.m. Unless one of the doors is locked and we have to call somebody in. That made it happen this morning. So, anyway, woke someone up early this morning. We're really, really hoping they are back to sleep, going Betty by, so they do not know what we are doing irresponsibly with valuable KNUS airtime at 6:49 in the morning. And we appreciate each and every one of you keeping this a secret. We cannot believe it has lasted this long. And as always, Blake Olson joins us from the news department. Now, gentlemen, here are our headline choices this morning. Headline number 1, Rocky's got a problem. Headline number 2, Wilson Phillips inspired. Headline number 3, a morbid chain of events. And headline number 4, quit whining, soy boy. Mr. Hunt, your choice, sir.
Oh,
yes.
I'm going to go with the soy boy.
I had a feeling. Alrighty, quit whining, soy boy. Here we find ourselves in northern British Columbia. It's because Kitmat's Sushi J has created a bit of a problem with some of their customers. They have a variety of sushi rolls on display for very reasonable prices. It's a super popular sushi stop, but there's one thing you're never gonna get at Kitmat's Sushi J. Extra soy sauce. No. The owner, Philip Kim, says, no. He recently had a lengthy social media post justifying his position despite customer complaints. He said, I'm not going to give you any extra soy sauce. Most of the chefs have this strong opinion, but they don't want to fight with the customer, so they don't mention it. I am different, he says. He goes, I want to serve my food in the right way. That's why I care deeply about the amount of soy sauce that happens. And Kim argues the condiment soy sauce is packed with salt and drowns out the flavor of sushi. He said he's worked more than 2 decades to perfect his craft. Now, when you take the meal, why do you want to drink a half a cup of seawater with it? He's like, your kidneys are going to be destroyed. It's too much sodium. It tastes like crap. He's I'm thinking about you and the health of my food. That's why I don't serve extra soy sauce. Now, people are saying, you're just being cheap. And he said, you could offer me $1,000 and I wouldn't give you any extra soy sauce. And the chef says he actually can prove what he says happens. He realized that most of the customers that were asking for extra soy sauce never came back. So his theory is those that have the extra soy sauce put it onto their sushi, and then everything tasted all salty and like seawater, and they said the sushi sucks. So he thought the extra soy sauce, the customer, was actually harming the product. So, yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
That's
He's like,
funny.
and again, I was thinking the soup Nazi the whole time. And instead he's like, no soy for you.
I get that. I actually kind of,
Yeah.
I'm a sushi connoisseur.
Oh, you are? I did not know that about you.
Not in the sense of like some of the weird, really weird fish.
Yeah.
But I love good sushi. And if it's really good and fresh, yes, dousing it in soy sauce absolutely destroys it.
Wow.
He's right.
Blake,
That chef is right.
You a soy sauce, or not soy sauce, you a sushi person?
I cannot stand that
Yes,
stuff.
no.
Really?
I don't touch it. And now what I've heard from RFK Jr., you may want to think twice about eating it.
Now, here's the thing: is my family
Just
huge,
FYI.
huge sushi. I am not, but for whatever reason, the rest of my family, they can throw down.
Yeah, same here.
Oh yeah, I've got
Same with
a
my
daughter
family.
that she'll do octopus and squid, and it does not matter. I mean, it's just blah 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 blah. Yeah, it is crazy the amount of sushi that my family will put away, and then I get the bill. Always
with
good.
a lot of soy sauce.
Yeah. Nah. All right.
Dude,
Okay.
warm sake.
Oh, warm sake is good.
So good.
Yeah, warm sake is really good.
Man,
Yeah.
Blake, you're not a warm sake guy?
I do not like that stuff.
One time,
Sorry.
one time when I was waiting tables, let's just say one family didn't understand that sake was alcoholic, and maybe the little kid was imbibing some. I'm just saying, tipsy 5-year-old, freaking hilarious.
It takes a lot of sake. It's not like whiskey or anything like that. It's a very light rice-based wine.
I'm saying, he was going to town. You're like, yeah, it was kind of fun.
drinking it
Yeah,
Hold on, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Mom, come here. Come here. I love you.
He slept well that night.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Blake Olson, sir.
Blake,
yes.
are you at least into the where they cooking for you? Hibachi.
No. Oh, you know what?
Oh,
yeah, as long as
that.
there's steak on there.
Oh, yeah. Steak makes everything better.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm taking
Okay.
I'm sorry. I can't handle this.
That was great. Okay, Blake, Rocky's got a problem, Wilson Phillips inspired, or a morbid chain of events?
Rocky's got a problem.
Yeah, Rocky's got a problem. Somebody's got to call Bullwinkle. This is ridiculous. What's the matter with you? Okay, here we find. Thank you. Appreciate that.
That was great.
Thank you.
I'm right there with you.
I appreciate that, man. Okay, a California squirrel seems to have gone nuts. And we're not talking about the things that fall from the trees. Neighbors in this one area of San Rafael are putting up posters because of a super aggressive squirrel. It has attacked several people so far, sending 2 of them to the emergency room. Yeah, Rockies. Now walking on the bad side of the tracks. Now, Marin Humane Service has confirmed this. They say, quote, we've received reports of at least 2 people being attacked by a squirrel that has ended up in emergency room visits. 5 other people report being attacked. This behavior is very unusual for squirrels. It's likely your fault. Well, they didn't put it that way, but they said probably because y'all are feeding the squirrels. When wildlife is fed by humans, they lose their natural fear and then act more emboldened. This one seems to have an attitude problem. So, yes. Joan Helbeck was talking about she was enjoying a peaceful walk through Lucas Valley in San Rafael when the rodent all of a sudden launched himself at her and continued to claw and bite at her. Yeah, said, came out of nowhere. I didn't see him running up to me at all. That's how her voice sounds. I think it's in my head. It clamped on my leg and the tail was flying up here. I was like, get off me! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off! Yeah, that's what she was saying. So she said her injuries were so severe she went to the ER to seek treatment.
Jeez.
Yes. Yeah, there's another victim.
Violent.
Yeah, another victim that said she was hospitalized from her wounds because the squirrel went automatically from the ground and tried to jump at my face.
Wow.
She said when I tried to protect my face, it was on my arm and started biting it. Yes.
Man,
I know.
entitlement.
Exactly. Someone's got to talk to Rocky. He's got to calm down a little bit.
Can't encourage him.
Yeah, can't at all. Okay, Mr. Hunt, final choice this morning. Wilson Phillips inspired or a morbid chain of events?
Let's do the morbid chain of events.
Yes,
please.
a morbid chain of events. Unfortunately, there is a particular small business that is no longer going to be able to serve their wares at the Mayo Hospital. Effective immediately, the local owners and the trailer is banned. Why? Well, it's all because of the name of the company. Yes, they were the proprietors of Graveyard Shift Coffee. People at the hospital had a problem with the reference to the graves. Also, maybe the drink names might have done something to it, too. They served the Bloody Eye, which had chocolate and strawberry in it, the Formaldehyde with lavender honey, and the Murder Spice with honey and cinnamon. Yes, I'm just saying that if you're going to name your thing Graveyard Shift Coffee, maybe you don't go somewhere where people are dying.
Yeah, and could you imagine walking around with a little coffee cup, too?
Yes.
In the
Graveyard
hospital.
Shift,
Graveyard Shift.
Graveyard Shift. Yes. Mine. Oh, what is my blend? Mine is the dead patient. Oh, that's awkward. Sorry about that. Yes. I know. Okay, that's it. That's the new Juice and News. Back to you, sir.
I guarantee you the nurses didn't have any problems with all that. They've always got the best sense of humor. It's the execs that did. All right, we'll continue. Steve Reams is joining us next. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is 710 KNUS.